Hey YouTube, it's me Noah Mean again for the Arc of Truth. Okay, so as you already know, since I'm probably late on this whole story, and since a lot of other YouTube sources pretty much butchered this story already. Uh, Here's the thing: Donald Trump has already made a deal with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, to sell weapons to them, basically jets, tanks, missile defense, etc. That is what they're selling. And in exchange, they invest immediately $110 billion to the United States economy. This deal is supposed to be worth about $350 billion, as far as I know. I mean, I could be wrong, and it could simply go up, but for right now, it's a $350 billion value. Here's the pros to this deal. One, it's investing in the United States economy, obviously, and it helps create jobs. Two, it allows us to produce more American-made products. In this case, it's weapons that we're selling to the Saudis. Uh, with that going on, that would mean that the economy would be able to grow to a greater extent than it already has, mainly in the defense industry. Um, but here's the major con to this. There's been evidence showing that Saudi Arabia has actually been supplying uh, the Islamic State with these kind of weapons. That's kind of a big deal for me because, well, they are a terrorist group that has been committing a lot of terrorist attacks in Europe and North America. And when after hearing one of our supposed allies um be where they were showing evidence that they're actually supporting ISIS to an extent, that kind of concerns me, and I bet that's kind of concerns President Donald Trump as well uh because of how this deal is going about. Now I do not know how they're working this out because it's a lot of closed doors talking about this deal, but I think maybe that is one of the highlights to it. But I think I know the reason why we're doing this, despite the fact that the evidence shows them supporting ISIS. One, they are in a way kind of a convenient ally for us. In the Middle East, there are a lot of Muslim nations, especially Iran, do not like us. In fact, as you already know from Iran, they're trying to develop a bomb, trying to actually use it on either Israel or maybe even the United States. And they've actually been supporting a lot of terrorist organizations such as Hezbollah and Hamas. Now, to counter that, while we don't like the Saudis specifically, considering that they're a theocratic state and they're a human rights abuser, we kind of side with them. This kind of plays into something that I learned from college, or something that I'm learning in college. It's called the realist perspective. The realist perspective, and basically this is happening regionally. So basically, my teacher, his name is Mr. Salisbury. He's a great teacher, by the way. If you're watching this, Mr. Salisbury, hi, and you're doing a really good job. But anyway, the regional issue with the realist perspective is that it's a focus on power. Each specific nation in the area is trying their best to dominate the area through specifically gaining as much power as possible, while at the same time being secure about themselves. This can play out in a multitude of ways, such as building an alliance of convenience, like say well, I do not know any good regional alliances of convenience, but there is the Arab League, and that I know of. That's pretty much all I know. But anyway, this it can also happen through technological gains, through arm arms races, and so on and so forth. So basically, that is what we're kind of doing. We're supplying the Saudi Arabians in order to counteract not just ISIS, but against the Iranians as well. Let's be clear here. The Iranians have, through the past 8 years, thanks to Obama, have actually gone a lot stronger and definitely getting closer to building an atomic bomb. And that's something that everyone is afraid of, especially the Saudis. Here's the thing: they are fighting a lot of proxy wars, with the Iranians in Yemen specifically, where they've actually built a coalition to fight against the Houthi rebels, in the country of Yemen, and pretty much reestablish the president there. I mean, currently right now it's in the middle of a civil war, so I don't know if they're gonna be successful or not. And at the same time, they're kind of economic rivals as well, because, well, regionally, in because both have huge amounts of, basically, Saudi Arabia has huge amounts of oil, while Iran, I think it does have oil, but I think it relies mostly on the radioactive materials such as plutonium and uranium and whatnot, although they could be importing them from North Korea. But like I said before, from the realistic perspective, this deal is a good opportunity to balance the power and counteract against the Islamic Republic of Iran. Without that, they probably would see that Saudis is weak, and the Americans too as weak, because we're not really stretching out influence across the region. While with Iran, they're actually spreading across the region, establishing influences. You can see from a lot of militias that have in Iraq that have actually been supported by the Iranian government, and that is definitely concerning for the United States as well. Since Obama left office, we've actually taken this stood back from this whole ordeal with the Islamic State, while Iran has been actively supporting these groups. Again, that is with both the Saudis and the Americans. That's definitely a big deal for both of us. We cannot simply let this go. That's why we need this balance of power. Now, I agree. I don't really trust the Saudis one bit, and a lot of Americans agree with me. In fact, I think there was a Gallup poll showing that 43% of Americans do not trust the Saudis. And again, I don't blame them. I don't trust the Saudis either because of our social and political differences. But this is kind of important. Without this deal, we lose it. We have less influence in the Middle East than what we need. And without this deal, we wouldn't be able to have a stronger tie with the Saudis. But again, I think we should be focused on being cautious about this and taking this very slowly in a political standpoint. But the other pros, such as building the United States economy and developing our influence in the region, and actually building the defense industry, right now that's a good thing. But like I said before, we must remain cautious. We need to remember the evidence, and we need to just watch Saudi Arabia closely. It kind of reminds me of a quote from quotes that says, "Keep your enemies close, or no, keep your friends close, and your enemies even closer." That is definitely what we should do. Alright, that's all I have for today. This is Noah Mia on the Arc of Truth. Post some comments down below, share and like, and finally, subscribe. Alright, thanks. Bye.